This week on Stadium Center, anomalies are out, contemporary cities are in, a new Showdown challenge, and plenty of stadiums to give you inspiration. All that and more coming your way. Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of Stadium Center. We're coming to you live from Santa Barbara, California. I'm your host, Sewell21, and let's start off with what's new this week in Stadium Creator. SDS dropped a new set of props on us called the Contemporary City Kit. With it, you'll get a lot of new road props for both city streets and highways. There's also new buildings that come in sets of two, one clean and the other with graffiti. You'll also get a few bigger style buildings and a few neighborhood homes as well. Finally, you'll see some newer props which can be used to detail your streets and restaurants. I'm looking forward to using these, but be warned, they will consume a big chunk of memory, so you may want to pick your spots carefully when using these. Lastly, the big news that affected almost every one of my stadiums. Batter's Eyes anomalies are once again gone from being usable, but there is a catch. They will still appear as long as they are behind your center field wall, which leads me to our next segment. The YouTube Stadium Creator Series. From now on, most of the time when I'm working on stadiums, you'll be able to hang out with myself and other stadium creators like yourself as we build stadiums live and take suggestions from the chat to build new creations together. This week we started fixing the stadiums that had anomalies in them, and I think they turned out really well. I can't thank everyone enough who helped me with the Oceanside Stadium and Lake State Railway Yards. We also built a new stadium from scratch called Twitch Field from the ground up with suggestions from everyone. I plan on showing these a bit deeper in the future with showing off who came up with what features and giving them a little nod for everyone to see. So drop on by and you might just find a new section of a ballpark named after you. Next up, we're going to start a brand new segment where we throw the spotlight on someone different every episode. Let's jump right in and look at Stadium Center's first ever featured creator. If you guys don't know about Phil's YouTube channel, Studio 44, you must be living under a rock and are really missing out. This guy really does it all, and I can't thank him enough for all the support he's given me since I started my channel. He not only does a great job showcasing stadiums in depth, but he also runs competitions, hosts live streams, and of course he also creates stadiums. He has a wide range of great parks including Royal Caribbean Field, General Mills Park, Hollywood Hills Stadium, and of course his signature, the ballpark at the Moonshot Casino, and many more. He also has a podcast with his brother and nephew called Respect the Pick, so if you haven't checked him out already, get on over there at youtube.com/Studio44 Phil Sherman. Every episode will feature a new stadium creator highlighting some of their best stadiums, but for now let's move on to the competitive side of Stadium Center with the second Showdown Challenge. Challenge 2 was pretty open for interpretation. Build your best city park, and the capacity was limited to 5,000 fans or less. We had a smaller entry pool for this one with only 8 submissions that met the requirements. The locations are spread out enough that we're going to break them down into 2 divisions of East and West, with 2 that did not have a specific location, so they've been randomly assigned to each side. In the Western Division, we'll be looking at the Sandlot, Big Bend Park, Arroyo Grande Field number 9, and Marquee Park. Over on the Eastern Division, we're going to see Josh Gibson Memorial Park, Palm Tree Park, Long Island City High School, and Ralphington City Park. We're going to kick things off in the San Fernando Valley with the Sandlot by Ice Diggity Stank, and no, it's not the same Sandlot that you see all over the vault. This one is a lot more based on the movie and has some great features. There's a treehouse and even a junkyard representing the area where the beast lives. SDS didn't give us any dogs to use, so this T-Rex is going to be a great substitute, and I don't think anyone would risk climbing over that fence for a ball hit over it, even if it was signed by Babe Ruth himself. Great job, Ice Diggity Stank, and let's head on to the next one. Next up is another name that's been all over the Stadium Creator channels lately. This is Texas Ags with Big Bend Park in, you guessed it, Big Bend, Texas. Tex has really been becoming known for his work outside of the park as well as inside, so this challenge was right up his alley. He's kept the capacity just under the 5,000 threshold and still managed to fit some stands in the outfield. He has built a really awesome city around the park, and it's very realistic with the streets and buildings all coming together to form city blocks. This park looks really nice at night, and the backdrop in center field looks great with that low-hanging bridge. I love the placements of the parking lots and the mini golf just outside the stadium gates. Texas Eggs is slowly becoming one of my favorite creators, and it's always a pleasure to check out what new parks he's got in the vault. Great job, Tex, and we'll see more from you later in the episode. Let's head out to yet another city I've lived in. This is Arroyo Grande Field number 9 in Henderson, Nevada. This is a small park located in a quaint neighborhood and offers quite a bit of hillside seating behind home, which reminds me of a few parks in Minnesota that I used to play in as a kid. I love that he covered the seating, as the heat in Nevada can be a real nightmare during the summer. The scoreboard in center is a nice touch, and there's even a runoff canal between the park and houses like you'd see in real life. This was a nice cozy park by the Dab, and now we'll check out the last park in the west. Justice Beaver is bringing us Marquee Park in Little City, USA, and is filling in the last spot in the West Division. They have made a small city park complex, which are becoming more common now than ever instead of just a single standalone ball field. They've included a really great looking playground for younger kids that I would have loved in my much younger days. You know, kids would love running up the path from the parking lot excited to start playing, and the parents could grab snacks and drinks from the nearby concession stands. This build really makes me wonder if this is based on a real park because it's set up so well. There's also some nearby courts down the road across from the gas station. They really nailed the lighting on both the field and down the paths of the complex. This is another cool entry into the Showdown, and I'm not sure how you guys are going to be able to pick just one to vote on. That's going to be a wrap on all the stadiums in the Western Division, but before we move on to the East, let's take a look at some stuff that we found randomly in this week's edition of Inside the Vault. First up is Sayu Community Park, which looks like it very well could be based on a real-life stadium. The parking lot with the trees is really cool, and you can't help but love the view of the river in center field. This would be a fantastic small park for Diamond Dynasty or even possibly Road to the Show. Another park we came across during a live stream was Grand Canal Park, and this thing is nuts. These are my favorite kind of builds where you just try something so different and no one else could think of, and when you pull it off like this, simply amazing. This gives me an idea for something similar I thought of, and I'm definitely going to use this park as inspiration. Hats off to whoever created this, and I'm sorry I forgot to write down your name. Lastly, we came across this park called Solin Field, which I believe is an actual AAA stadium. This build also has a fantastic city built around it, and I love the freeway system included, and this was before the Contemporary pack came out. This park also has one of the most simple yet cleanest stacked ballpin setups that I've ever seen in a stadium. While the backdrop here is amazing, the real kicker to this field though is the Bison sign, as it was made with a new anomaly. Wall pads from the outfield have somehow been duplicated. They are a little glitchy, but I would love to see these as props in the future. Let's take one last look at this field with the lights on, and we're headed out of here. It's always cool when you can stumble upon some gems in the vault and you're not just getting bombarded by Costco Field. But for now, let's pick back up where we left off in this week's Showdown Challenge with the Eastern Division. Let's head out to Georgia for Josh Gibson Memorial Park by Chris A.T. Johnson. We got a strong kickoff to the east as Chris has worked this field into an entire city park. He's got some great bleacher seating next to the awesome memorial with a glove that is definitely reachable. There's a great botanical garden beyond the outfield walls and a place to eat in right field after the game. The giant clock tower acts as a great landmark in the middle of downtown and a cool feature above the batter's eye. There are plenty of seats behind home, and at night the features are also lit up very well to see those home run targets. Another fun build by Chris, and he came up with some really fun ideas for Twitch Field on the live stream too. This guy is full of great ideas. Let's head to the neighboring state of Florida for Palm Tree Park by PetPet91927, also known as Baseball Card Brothers on YouTube. This is another very interesting build as they have a road looping all the way around the park behind home plate, and it even goes underneath the left field stands. That's a pretty cool feature, and I just may have to borrow that kind of idea for one of my builds. Right field is made up of a giant plaza just inside the gates, and that'll lead you to either side of the ballpark. This park definitely has a Floridian tropical vibe with all the palm trees and surrounding plants they used. Those giant palms beyond center are also very iconic to the park. Great job by Baseball Card Brothers. Now let's head up to New York for the defending champ Jedi Yanks entry with Long Island City High School. He won the first ever Stadium Creator Showdown. Can there be a repeat? Let's find out. Jedi has set this park in Queens, New York and made it a field for a nearby high school. With plenty of seating, both teams will have plenty of room for all their students to cheer their team on. And if one of them is getting 10-run ruled, they can play some hoops in left. Just keep your head up for dingers. Right field has an open field area where you can grab a snack from some local cart vendors too. This is a really cool downtown build and I'd expect nothing less from Jedi Yank. Let's take a look at it with the lights on and check out one last view of the city backdrop. Nice job again, Jedi Yank, and I can't wait to see your next build that's coming up. Our last entry is from another creator we all know and love. This is Ralphington City Park by Murph075. Murph has built his park near the ocean in the heart of downtown Ralphington. The baseball field is only a section of the park though, as there are playgrounds and other ball fields for kids to play on. He did a really nice job on the city, and it almost looks like we're playing City Skylines instead of MLB The Show. The city also has a feature I've never seen attempted before. He built an entire country club complete with a golf course behind the left field foul territory. Let's take one last look at some shots at night, and the parks are all lit up very well. Nice job again, Murph. There were a lot of great parks in both divisions, but the question remains, which one was your favorite? Let us know by heading over to the community page and voting for the best one of each division. And that's going to lead us to our next segment. Get ready for a bunch of inspiration from some of the best parks in the vault. Alright guys, this is what you've been waiting for. Let's kick off this segment of Stadiums That Inspire with Ralphington Municipal Stadium by Murph075. Located in Ralphington, USA, Murph has created another fantastic masterpiece that holds over 47,000 fans, and of course at the max elevation you'll be hitting some absolute bombs out of this park. One of the new features I thought would be fun to include in Stadiums That Inspire is showing the field dimensions. That way you guys can get an idea of how the parks will play if you're considering downloading them for your own personal use. Let's start in left with this custom section which really breaks up those sea of seats we always see. Next to that we can see the start of the concourse, which has multiple layers and has a great old school but updated look. He's included restaurants and a Hall of Fame center, and in right field a really great entrance gate underneath that Jackson Bridge. This park includes a lot of great views and looks particularly awesome with the lights on. I love the mixture of brick with trees and shrubs, and his concourses are always something he excels at. Another great job, Murph, and I'm looking forward to your next one. Next up, we have our first future build. This is Park Labatt 2055 by none other than Carmen's dad. This is definitely not a style of park I'd ever thought I'd see Carmen's dad attempt, but if you're familiar with his other builds, you'll know there's no doubt he crushed this aesthetic as well. It's a pretty symmetrical park with some deep corners for no cheap home runs. His concourse includes some great fountains and building architecture, and he's combined 3 batter's eyes to make one big modern one. Since they're all behind the center field wall, they should still be there in all other game modes. When the Future City pack came out, I really thought there was absolutely no use for them. But then again, after seeing the props used this well, I might just have to give it a shot after all. Another awesome build by Carmen's dad, and be sure to check out all his other parks in the vault. Next on the list, we're headed to the minor leagues. This is Regions Field by Archmage Chemish, and this time he's brought us a modern build. Archmage has to be known for building some of the craziest old school parks and recreations, but this park really shows his range in that he's not just a one-trick pony. Left field looks amazing with grass and bleacher seating using the tops of those buildings, and the custom bullpens really complete the look. He's also included a nice small town skyline to sell the minor league feel. And behind home plate is anything but cookie cutter with Arch. You can always expect he's gonna go the extra mile with his build, and this park just proves that over again. Great job, Arch. I always look forward to your builds, and I can't wait to see updates on your next park in the Discord. Which reminds me, join our Discord, link in the description below. Are you ready for an adventure? Then strap in for a Goonies themed build by Jedi Yank and Goondock Stadium. Nestled along the shores of Astoria, Oregon, this park is built on the water and has many Easter eggs to the Goonies movies. See how many you can spot as we check out this stadium. The first thing you'll notice is the awesome custom built batter's eye with plenty of balconies to catch the action from. Down in right field, we see the docks leading to the lighthouse, where you'll find a majority of the Goonies references and some more great custom building by Jedi. I always love that Jedi's parks are tied into movies and TV shows, and it makes for an enjoyable time checking everything out while I'm recording these videos. We'll have to wait and see what he has in store for the future, but in the meantime, check out his vault for more great builds. Now let's check out a Kansas City concept build by Sandman Dan. When I first loaded up this park, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect from the thumbnail, but as I checked things out, I just kept finding more and more awesome features. It's been a while since we've checked out a Sandman Dan build, so I'm excited to show this one off to you guys. It has realistic field dimensions and great atmosphere. What would a Royals build be without fountains? He's included these in left field, but if you look closer, you'll find them absolutely lining the concourse in a really unique and modern way. He's included a couple food courts and plazas, and one of them even has a lakeside bar with a view of the nearby waterfall. This has got to be one of the coolest custom features we've seen, and on the other side of the park, there's another entrance plaza connected to the street level to hang out before and after the game. This one will lead you into the right field entrance, and along the foul line, we'll see a great custom section to break up the continuity of the upper deck, and it also features another bar along the back side of it. This is definitely my favorite build I've seen of Sandman Dan's, and I really recommend you give it a download and play a few games in it. Our next stop is headed down I-35 to San Antonio for Century Park by Texas Eggs 75. When you see this park, you can't help but think of Texas when looking at the architecture. And with some very interesting field dimensions, any at-bat could really swing the game in either team's direction. I like that he used buildings for an almost Alamo-style wall texture, and the purple seats are something that we don't often see anyone use. The Wrigley scoreboards are a great fit for this park, and the off-yellow building on upper deck make for some eye-catching focal points. This park looks really nice with the lights on, and you can easily picture yourself at a ball game on a hot summer night here. They did a really nice job in this stadium and building a small city outside the gates as well. Another great job by Texas Eggs, and don't forget, if you'd like to possibly see one of your stadiums on StadiumsCenter, be sure to fill out the Google form in the description down below. Houston, we have a problem. And that's that Bow Tiger built NASA Park and didn't let me know about it. Instead, it popped up randomly while I was recording, and I thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Located in Huntsville, Alabama, Bow Tiger has made great use of both old and newer props in this space-themed park. He also went with field dimensions that can be used in any game modes online. They are nearly symmetrical, but center field dips back in towards home, and the tall left center corner makes home runs more of a challenge for righties. Left field features a huge concourse in lieu of outfield seating and includes a couple of the Future City concession stands, as well as a patio that's on point with the theme. There's also a NASA Space Museum to visit in center field, and in right we get some outfield seating with great views overlooking the rest of the park. There's one last restaurant in the corner to grab a bite to eat at, and when we check out the field at night, we can see the lighting is perfect with no dark spots. He's also used some newer buildings for the skyline, and it really completes the futuristic aesthetic for this build. Awesome job, Bo Tiger, and we have one more park to look at before we finish up with our final new segment of Stadium Center. Our last stadium of the day is a park that we checked out during a live stream. This is Blue Sox Ballpark by A. Sanders 91. Sanders was watching my live stream and asked if I could check out this park since he was fairly new to Stadium Creator and wanted some tips. After loading the park up, honestly I had no notes as this is a pretty complete park and doesn't give off the impression of being from someone new to the tool. The first thing that I really liked was this grouping of advertising, and it really fills up an otherwise empty wall nicely. Over by the batter's eye, we get two huge plazas with nearby food and a ton of tables to catch the game from that offer some spectacular views of the game and a chance to snag a moonshot. I also really like how we flipped the Cardinals restaurant around for retail entrances, which is something I haven't seen before. This park is also lit up really well at night, and the city skyline in the background fits perfectly. After seeing this stadium, I don't think Sanders can really consider themselves a beginner anymore. That's going to wrap it up for this segment of Stadiums That Inspire, but stick around for our final segment that'll wrap up this and all future episodes of Stadium Center. Alright guys, that's a wrap for Stadiums That Inspire, and we're coming to the end of the episode, but don't leave just yet. We got one more new feature for you, and that's the top 5 features of the ballparks in this week's episode. At number 5, we have the Grand Canal from Grand Canal Park. Definitely one of the more unique settings we've seen for a baseball field, and righties have a chance of putting a home run onto the deck of that cargo ship. Number 4 features a tunnel that passes right under the outfield stands in Palm Tree Park. Great use of the new contemporary road kit we got in the last update. I'm sure we'll start seeing some more creative things with the roads in the future. Coming in at number 3, we have the Playground Plaza from Marquee Park. One of the more realistic playground setups we've seen inside the ballpark grounds, in a place I would have loved as a kid. Number 2 is the Jackson Bridge entrance gate. Anytime you can break up those outfield seats in a fun and unique way, it always makes your park come alive. Add an entire concession area and you're looking good. And finally at number 1, we have the Waterfall Bar from KC Municipal Stadium. I'm sure this area would be completely packed during every home game, and I know I'd want to check it out before the game too. This was definitely a fun surprise to see in the park. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the first ever episode of Stadium Center. I hope you guys enjoyed the new format. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and as always, take care, and I hope to see you in the next one.